Hi everyone, my name is Miss Tanner and today we're going to be reading Henry Goes West by Robert Quackenbush. Now, can anybody tell me what the main character's name might be? Right, Henry. And so by looking at Henry, where do we think he lives? Yeah, I would say somewhere definitely maybe south in the country. He looks like he might be wearing some cowboy attire. He's got a cowboy hat on, some cowboy boots. And it looks like he's going on a trip somewhere because he has some suitcases with him. But we're just going to go ahead and find out. Alrighty, so we're going to be reading Henry Goes West by Robert Quackenbush. Henry the Duck missed his friend Clara, who was vacationing out west. He decided to pay her a surprise visit, so he packed his bag and took the first plane heading west to meet her. Henry arrived at Clara's guest ranch early the next morning, but the ranch was closed. Everyone had just left for an all-day trail ride. They would not be back until midnight. So, has anyone been on a vacation to visit family or friends? And it's probably fun, so that means that Henry is probably very excited and looking forward to that trip. Henry decided to have a look around the ranch while he waited for Clara. As he was snapping a picture near the barn, Henry backed right into a mule. Right there's the mule. The surprised mule kicked Henry. Henry landed on the back of a horse. There he is. The horse was a bucking bronco. Henry was taken for a wild ride. Then he was tossed over a fence. Henry landed in a bull's pen. The bull chased Henry. Henry ran and ran. At last, Henry got out of the bull's pen. He went to sit on a large rock, but he did not see the cactus behind it. Henry sat down on the cactus. Henry jumped up and quacked loudly. The noise frightened some cattle grazing nearby. The cattle began running. Soon, they were racing at full speed. Henry had started a stampede. Now, based on the picture and what the story described, what do you guys think a stampede is? Right, it's whenever there is just a large group of animals that are all into a group and they start running. So it's just this giant group of animals that are just running and running, usually with cows or maybe even sheep and definitely horses and bigger animals like that. So they're all chasing Henry. Henry escaped to the hills in the nick of time. He pulled the cactus stickers from his tail. Then he headed back to the ranch. On the way, Henry spotted an unusual rock. He thought it would make a good present for Clara. But as soon as he picked up the rock, he heard a loud rumbling from the mountaintop. Henry had started a landslide. He ran as fast as he could go. Now, what do you guys think a landslide is? Right, it's like whenever the bunch of rocks all tumble onto each other that were kind of on a mountain, so they were stacked up. So now they're all sliding onto each other. There he is picking up the rock. And there he is running from the landslide. Henry got clear of the landslide. Then he went straight back to the ranch to wait for Clara. Henry waited and waited. It was turning cold on the desert. So Henry built a campfire. He stood close to the fire to warm his tail feathers. Too close. Guys, what do we think is going to happen since he's standing so close to the fire? Right, his tail feathers, they're looking very, very close to the fire, so he might catch his tail feathers. Suddenly, Henry's tail feathers began to sizzle. He made a beeline for the water and dove in. Now, the word beeline, that's kind of a weird phrase, but it's a term that's mostly used for whenever people are just running straight towards something. So they're not stopping at anything else. They're heading straight for whatever they're going for. So for Henry, he's making a beeline for the water. Henry was soaking wet and all worn out. He wished Clara would hurry up and get there. At last, the riding party returned, but Clara was not with them. Henry asked one of the cowboys if he had seen her. "Sorry, mister," said the cowboy. "Clara went home yesterday. She said she was lonesome for someone named Henry." The end. Now looking back, how do we think Henry feels after the end of his long, long day? Right, he probably feels tired, defeated, because he has been through a lot while waiting for Clara. And tell me, what would you guys do differently if you were in Henry's shoes? Yeah, for me, I would probably call or maybe write a letter or email in advance to see if she was home, to see if he was able to come out and visit. Yeah, so here is kind of just a lack of communication. So it's just important to remember that we always communicate with those around us and those who are in our lives, especially if they live far away, because we don't want to go to their house to visit and then they go to ours and neither of us are there. Alrighty, and that was the reading of Henry Goes West by Robert Quackenbush. Thank you guys.